Hello, my friend, wherever you are. I'm sending you love, the power of positivity, and vitamin D.
I'ma do this shit until they murder me.
I will be your vitamin D for today. And yes, the sun is shining. Welcome to the Zillionaires Club, and today, my friend, we're going to be discussing about voting with your feet, time, and moolah. So what does that mean? On my channel, yes, I've said a lot of crazy things. I joke about a lot of topics, but at the end of the day, you know who I am.
Check out my nipple.
And even if you don't, I've always mentioned, I'm just a common guy with a common life. I don't have a desire to be a billionaire. I don't have a desire to be one of the top businessmen. I don't have the desire to to be the top dog. Why? Because I really treasured my time. I treasured my time because at the end of the day, that is all we have. Time, health, wealth, right? Now, when it's like, for example, voting with your feet. I've been in the state of Washington for a pretty long time, and then ever since COVID hit and all the, what happened with the blue states and the red states, I choose to move to Florida for freedom. Supposedly, or it was supposed to be St. Kitts and Nevis, and then the crypto dropped, and then blah, 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 and here I am. However, I'm still pursuing or in the process of correcting my status from citizen to national, because there are so many benefits of correcting your status to national. And with the COVID, I kind of realized that even with St. Kitts and Nevis, if you are the citizen of the country, then yes, you can enter the country without a vax or even with a test. There were times, I remember there were times it required vaccination, and then when things were loosened up a little, they St. Kitts and Nevis, they didn't require the citizen to be vaccinated, but they needed a test. So pretty much the whole world was like that, and that's when I realized, wow, it's like when I guess at the end of the conversation, it didn't work out, but it happened for the best. And for me to correct my status, in the process of correcting my status, I will make a video once I'm finished with the process. The other thing is vote with your money. What does that mean? I mean, if you don't like a company, don't spend money there, right? Like on this channel, I remember when I first got into crypto, it was precious metals. I remember I used a credit card to pay for precious metals, and I'm not gonna mention the company, some of the company's name, but one of them requested that I provide my tax returns, and the other company just kind of shut down my credit card, and I paid them back. But then after I paid them back, I just closed my account
Born as con, your friend con, just at con, you know con, this is con.
Because I feel like, imagine a credit card and they're charging interest like, like anywhere from like 15 to 21%. And if that's how they do business, then I don't want to do business with them. With Uber, the same way. I've mentioned this over on my channel. But the thing is, I'm glad that they did. Not in a sense where like, oh, I'm happy because they banned me. I'm happy because it forces me to look at alternative, how to, there are other companies out there. Like for example, with Uber, I learned how to use like local taxis, public transportation. With the banks, I just go with other banks, or I learned how to use like decentralized exchanges. So it forces, because when one door closes, another one opens. So, and the last one is time. So you vote with your feet, you vote with your money, and you vote with your time. Now, when it comes to like social media, like with I remember I had it all: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. I had it all when I first started my building my personal brand. And then when COVID hit, and how like these social medias are controlling the narrative, they're banning people, they're pushing for certain agendas. And man, I remember I was putting in a lot of work, just to in the process of building my brand. But when I saw what happened, I'm like, wow, if I spend this much time like devoting to my personal brand, and the fact that like they don't like what I say or my belief system, they can ban me. It means that they can shut down my business. And that's why I ended up being on Odyssey only. Now, my friend, when I, sometimes in life, you have to establish who you are as an individual, like, your principles, your morals, your integrity. And it's hard. It's hard, meaning that when I don't associate myself with these social media, when I don't want to rely on banks, when spending money with certain companies, there are a lot of backlashes, meaning that instead of getting from point A to point B, the shortest route would be using those kind of platforms. But the moment you start eliminating them, it will take a lot longer for you to get from point A to point B. And the question you gotta ask yourself is, are you happy with the things that you are doing? And if you don't get from point A to point B, are you still keep doing it?
Delta, Delta, Delta.
Because sometimes I feel like, the things that we are fighting for, which is like freedom, the Constitution, let's just put it this way: freedom of speech, individual sovereignty, property rights, and pretty much, everything that we are seeing in the world that we are living in, how centralized they are, and just a small group of people, control the narrative, pushing for the ESG movement with the transgender, how the demoralization of the United States and even around the globe right? And sometimes I feel like a lot of the things that we are fighting for, we are also help creating it. And that is the only message that I want to share with you. You know, establish who you are as an individual. I try to do that with my, you know, the reason why I post on a daily basis and I share, you know, I make video and I do my editing. It's pretty much very straightforward. I rarely cut anything. You know, when I edit my video, I just cut and then I add, but I never take out anything from the original video because I want you to see my body language. I want you to see my reaction, the way that I speak, vocabulary, you know, that I use, and my reaction to it. So you see me for who I am, and I, you know, there are certain phrases that I use over and over and over. Like, I'm just a common guy with a common life. Because I really, like, you know, if people try to, because in the future, like for example, if, you know, like right now, I have 3 years of work, you know, on Odyssey. And if people try to put words in my mouth or say things that is not true, you know, other people can go back and just look at my channel, you know, kind of very similar to how the news and, you know, with people Nazi on the internet, when they hate someone, what they do is they take clips and they edit, you know, the audio, and they can really make a good person into a bad person. And that's what the mainstream media have been doing for the longest time. That's how they were able to push us into wars, you know. So my friend, having a long format, posting every day, you know, it doesn't even have to be every day, as long as you are consistent with your message and you have a long format so that people understand who you are as an individual. And, you know, in case of future misrepresentation or defamation, people can go and look at your channel. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So my friend, that is the message. Understand who you are, vote with your feet, your time, and your money, and don't help create something that you are fighting for. So much love, and I will see you in the next video. Ta-da!